and then go into the game, would you go to the Ren Fair with us?
Probably.
Have you been there before?
Mm-mm.
It's right past Columbia, the one I'm talking about. Not Columbia, Charlotte. Yeah, it's in Huntersville.
That's where I am. Where is it? What is
You're in Huntersville? It's North Carolina Renaissance Festival.
Okay, yeah. I'm very familiar. Very familiar. Yeah. Big thing around here for sure.
Rob hasn't been to that one before.
I'm not. I've actually never been to a Renaissance fair.
It's a good one to go to, especially for your first one, because it's set up like an amusement park as far as parking goes and all that stuff.
I will go to anything that allows me to just get turkey leg. Turkey legs untouchable.
Yeah, turkey legs are dope.
You can also throw shuriken. And they have the old-fashioned dude that you can throw tomatoes at. And he's got a headset mic.
Okay.
And my dude is good at insults.
I bet. That's a fun thing to heckle people that miss you.
He's been featured on the news in South Carolina and North Carolina. He's so good. If it's the same guy.
Yep.
Well,
that's awesome.
Whether Rob does it or not, I think I probably will, especially because unfortunately the tickets are so cheap. I can go to the tickets for Ren Fair are expensive, but the tickets for Panthers are really cheap.
Probably cost you more to go.
So yeah, I mean, right now I'm looking at like $12 for a couple games.
Yep.
Except for the Chiefs game. The Chiefs game is it's not $12.
Chiefs Cowboys game, those are going to be expensive, but everything else is going to be dirt cheap.
But all that could change, and hopefully it will. Hopefully the ticket prices will quadruple in the next couple of weeks.
Maybe.
Trying to stay positive.
I have as well.
I'm about to bring the power of positivity to the next 15 minutes of our lives, fellas.
I might have to. We'll see. We'll see how.
I might be. Don't make me be the most pro Panther person in this segment, Rashad.
We'll see, man. We'll see how the conversation goes. But yeah, we got questions. A lot of questions.
You are not going to pass up on your chance to talk smack. Why would you not?
I didn't say I'm not doing that.
I mean, yeah. All right, here we go.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on, wrapping up hour number 3 of this 4-hour sports talk radio extravaganza. Rob Brown, the great Lonzo, and joining us now as he does every single Thursday at this time. Sometimes he wants to. Sometimes, I don't know. We'll find out here in a minute. He don't. Rashad Beard is the host of the Panther Nation podcast, which you can follow on X at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, go find them on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you hit that bell icon. Because they go live like a lot of the time, including right now. Shout out to the PNP Army rolling up here on the Rob Brown Show heavy this AM. And we're about to see how everybody's feeling after your future first ballot Hall of Famer Derek Carr went off for 3 tutties in this game. 47-10 in the week 1 contest. Rashad Beard, I am terrified that I'm going to be the only person optimistic about Carolina here, but we'll find out. How we feeling, fella?
Yeah, shocked, honestly. When watching the game, I was a little shocked, embarrassed. It was not the way we want to start the season. I think that, a lot of Panther fans are okay with losing. We're okay with taking the L. It's how you take that L. And I think that's what's really bothering a lot of Panther fans right now. We expect it to be better. We expect it to look better. There's certain aspects of the game that have looked better. There's certain things that have not or have regressed. And so as a fan base, we just want to see some progress, man. It doesn't take much to impress us right now. And unfortunately, things went the opposite way. And I think I can speak for most of Panther fans. We're kind of shell-shocked right now. We did not expect that. We just did not expect that kind of performance. And shout out to Derek Carr. I mean, he looks like the used car is repaired. He went to a nice little service center. He looked good out there. He looked good. I can't even hate.
So let me tell you the way I approach this for the Carolina Panthers and see if I can get you on board, or if you're going to tell me to bleep off to another dimension with my positivity. All right, but here's where I took it. Yeah, you want to see progression. Yeah, you want to see optimism. Of course, that everybody does. Even the Kansas City Chiefs fans want to see that right now for sure. But I don't think it has been expressed how new this team is, right? Like, you want to see progression from what? From last year where you got a head coach fired 8 weeks into the season, had an interim guy come in, from a team last year that had 3/5 of the offensive line at a different spot or on a different team, from a spot where last year's one receiver is now number 3. Your one receiver this year comes as a number 2 from another team last year. Your number 3 or 2 receiver this year was your number 4 last year, and your number 4 this year was a college player last year. The only thing that's the same that could have progressed from last year to this year was your running back crew. And you knew where the resources went this offseason. It was to fixing the offense, not the defense. So you knew that was going to be a challenge this year. I really think that, and obviously hindsight's 2020, but if you go back and you look at week 1 as a new starting point and not a continuation of 2023 into 2024, at least you can find some optimism that the jump from week 1 to week 2 will be there. I'd be more concerned if you get your ass run out of the building by the Chargers this weekend than I am about what happened in New Orleans.
Yeah, Rob, I got to be honest with you. All that sounded great, but when you're sitting in the situation we're in, dealing what we've been dealing with the past 6 years, it's hard not to merge these years together. It's hard to deal with that. It's hard to look at this squad come out here week in and week out and just look. This game looked like the 19th game of last year, right? It looked like a continuation of last season, right? All that changed. It looks like a lot stayed the same, and that's what's frustrating. And again, I'm trying my best, and again, it's really difficult as a fan that's been dealing with that. You try your best to allow Canellis to do his thing, right? It's not fair to him to kind of levy those expectations on him. He is a new coach, but at the same time, we got to see some progress, man. And again, I don't care about the win or the loss. I need to see progression inside the game. That's what my biggest thing is. And we did see the offensive line did play well. And that's what's concerning is that, you start, and I don't know if we're going to go into Bryce Young specifically, but you're starting to peel those layers away and those excuses away from Bryce Young. Right, the offensive line is played really well. We look at the PFF grades after every game, and we haven't seen a performance like that from an offensive line in years. We prayed for performances like that from the offensive line, and we get that performance from the offensive line, giving up less than 10 pressures, and we get still blown out. So there's some things that are looking better, but those, again, the excuses, the wide receiver core looks better, but you got to hit the guy. So Bryce he's got to get better, man. He's just really got to get better. So I don't know if we're going to get in that discussion, but yeah, there's a lot of things that need to get better.
We are going to get in that discussion. Rashad, I'm so glad you brought it up. You're a damn professional is what you are. Let's talk about it, because I made the mistake of getting into the cesspool that was Panthers subreddit on Sunday night after the game. And the majority of the posts were, that's it. I was a BY defender, but I'm out. Guys, and this has been my point, man. Nick Saban said during the first episode of Hard Knocks about Caleb Williams, biggest mistake you make is when you throw a rookie out there in year number 1 with elevated expectations on him. I think you did that to BY. And then you talk about what happened with Frank Reich. And then you talked about what happened with Chris Tabor at the end of the year. And then you talked about going into, technically, Bryce Young's 3rd head coach. My man's played 1 year. He's on his 3rd head coach, his 3rd offensive coordinator at this point. Like, yeah, I'm not the guy that's going to go, oh, there's no more excuses. Yeah, the hell there are, bud. His starting wide receiver, first time he's worked with this guy, his blanket last year in Adam Thielen is now a slot wide receiver that's more a coverage guy than a run him open kind of guy. Like, I don't understand why everybody expected this guy to come out and go with 100 QBR in game number 1.
Fair. But when all of the things that you're good at, you're supposed to be good at, you're not really looking that great in, that's a problem. That's a red flag for me. The processing, all these things that he was supposed to be great. And again, I'm not trying to dogpile on Bryce. I think there's time to get this thing figured out, right? There's time to get better this year. right? Within this year, there's time to get better, but time is ultimately going to run out. And listen, Canales is not going to put his eggs in the Bryce Young basket if it's not going to go well. He has the opportunity to get his quarterback, right? So again, do I think Bryce can be salvaged? I hope so. Please don't get me. Understand what I'm saying. I hope that Bryce Young is the guy. I hope we don't have to move on and draft another quarterback. I hope and pray that that's the case. But things are not. We got to call a spade a spade. It did not look good yesterday. You can go back, look at the QB school from JT O'Sullivan. Great job breaking down the QBs. It's not pretty. It's not. I mean, we have to call a spade at some point. So, Rob, my question to you is, all that you said is great, and you're right. But at what point do you say, okay, he might not be that guy?
I don't know, bro, but it ain't the end of 1 week.
I agree. I agree with you. There's time. I agree with you. But you also have to look at the writing on the wall. He has to, at some point, he has to start looking better. Let's just say, can we agree on that?
Sure.
Okay. So I asked the same question Monday after this. Should you be looking towards the draft? And I don't see why you can't. I mean, because I know it's one game, but right now that number one pick is looking like that might be happening. So if you're looking at the draft right now, and I know it's early, you got to be thinking quarterback. And is there a quarterback in college right now that would be better than how Bryce is playing right now?
It's a rough QB class. We'll see how it plays out. But ultimately, again, I don't want to get too far ahead in saying we need to draft a quarterback. I know in my emotional state on Sunday, I probably did say that, but I'm going to walk that back, and I don't want to go that far. But I will say this, and I'm trying to be objective, and I'm trying not to be emotional. Bryce, he has time to get this thing figured out. Let's be clear on that.
He does.
He has to be better though. We have to see some improvement. And again, I do think Canales will have the opportunity and the right to get his. That's how this thing works. He's not going to go down with the Bryce ship. If it's not working out, he's going to cut ties. So, and again, Bryce has a full season to get this thing turned around. I will back Bryce Young in that.
I think that's what I'm asking. And Rashad, there's a couple of other things that we talked about. I'm not gonna do what I did earlier, but PFF put up you know me, I'm a big graph guy. I'm a big dork. Everything's data, baby.
Be glad you didn't see the graph. Because, man, it was riveting.
PFF pulled up the graph. All right, big graph guy over here. They went with the graph where they showed the average amount of separation per targeted receiver, the guys that you elect to throw to. And Bryce Young had, and I'm actually looking at it, so I'll just describe it without pulling it up. There were in the entire NFL in week 1, there were 4 teams that had a starting quarterback with a lower accuracy at targeted receivers than Bryce Young. Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, sorry, there's 5, and Anthony Richardson. There were 3 teams that had less average separation than Bryce Young. The receiver core is upgraded. We all agree with that. Nobody's going to push back. Deontay Johnson's a big ad. Adam Thielen going back to the slot. That's my favorite thing. We're all waiting because I think we saw some flashes out of Xavier that he's going to be a good 4. Maybe a little shaky at the 2. Maybe Xavier that moves into the 2. We'll find out. You were also up against Rashad, and I'll toot the horn here. I think the best defensive back unit in the NFC South. I think probably one of the best 2 or 3 defensive back units in the NFC, maybe the NFL as a whole. I don't know. I'm not saying Bryce doesn't have to be better. He absolutely does, for sure. But you put him up against the D-line that's anchored by Jordan and Young. Those are 2 very good defensive ends, and the weak spots on your defensive line or your offensive line are the tackles. And you were sending a gelling new set of wide receivers against one of the best defensive back cores. All I'm saying is I get being down. You got your butts whooped. I understand it. You want to be competitive. But the situation in the context you were in, Rashad, I'm saying if you're running to slam the eject button right now, it's premature. That's it from me.
Agree. I would agree. And I fully agree with your comment about the Saints defense. They are really good. That's a tough defense, right? So that's a challenge. However, at the same time, there were some throws that need to be completed, right? There's some throws, some interceptions that don't need to be thrown. So I agree. Again, Bryce has to step it up. Can we turn it around? Absolutely. There's still time. It's not over, right? The season is not over. We just want to see progress. The bar is extremely low for Canales and the Panthers. Let's just get it right. Let's just be competitive and be in a game. That's all we're asking. And hopefully that turns around, man. I hope that they took this to heart. I hope that there's some dog in there. I hope that they turn it around. But that was not a great way to start the season. And I'm hopeful. That's all I have is hope.
Here's my thought. You got the Chargers coming to town, ran the hell out of the football last week. You lose Derek Brown. That's obviously a blow. We all know what that does to the defense, but this is a team in San Diego that does not want to turn it loose. They don't want this thing to turn into a 42-35 trap meet. They want to run the ball and pace it. I think that's good for you guys, right? I'll tell you what I'm looking for. Yeah, consistency and better out of Bryce Young. Bro, just come out and punch the people in the mouth. Just come out and show, like you just said, come out and show me you got that dog, and then we'll work on cleaning up the X's and O's after that. But if I look at a team that looks dispirited, disinterested, and it gets pushed around early in this one, that's where I'll check out.
Yeah, Derek Brown's a major loss, best player on the team, in my opinion.
Sure.
So that run defense is going to be problematic, and the Chargers, like you said, do like to run the football. One thing that you mentioned is absolutely correct. The Panthers need to turn and lean on that run game, right? That's one thing we could not do last week because the game's got out of control too fast. I think Canales wants to run the football. We didn't get an opportunity to do so. If we can get that run game going and not put so much on Bryce, maybe things will be better. But that's the biggest change I want to see from last week. Get us 30 runs, 30 rush attempts. Chuba, Miles Sanders. Let's run the football. Let's make it competitive and allow Bryce to kind of put that cherry on the top. But we'll see. We'll see.
Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on X at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, find them on YouTube. Click subscribe. Make sure you're in there. Rashad and the boys go live all the time. They got expert opinions and analysis you're not finding from anybody else in the game. Rashad, who dat?
Yeah, you got it, man. I can't. Yeah, you got it until next time. Hopefully, when they come to the bank, things will change. But I can't. There's nothing I can say. We are definitely not that for sure.
I'll see you at BOA. I'm feeling good about round 2.
I thank you for sparing me because you could have definitely talked way more. So thank you. I appreciate that.
I felt bad enough for you.
Come
dog.
on, I'm disappointed. I mean, because Rashad's not going to hold back if it's the opposite.
I'm not. Just be prepared.
What do I need to? All I got to do is say 47-10 and leave the room. I can't do worse than that. 47-10.
It's true.
See you next week, big dog.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Rashad Beard, Panther Nation podcast, joins us every Thursday at 8:40 here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Lonzo reads you a sports flash at the end of every hour on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
It's very exciting. As baseball's postseason inches closer, the Atlanta Braves find themselves fighting with the New York Mets for the final wild card spot after a 5-1 loss to the Washington Nationals yesterday. Atlanta is currently 1 game behind New York, and after an off day today, will start a 4-game set with the league-leading Dodgers. Former South Carolina Gamecock Aja Wilson has etched her name into WNBA history books again, setting the league single-season scoring record